Terry Funk ain't wear no mouthpiece, and Harley Race never fought over a charm bracelet. You know what I'm saying, Rich? CM Punk should be ashamed of himself. I mean, there's no way he's proud of that.
That's the antithesis of what he would want in a professional wrestling match, and I know it.
There's a theory going around that he's being tested to see if he snaps, and I didn't necessarily buy into that theory, but after seeing that fucking horse shit tonight, you know, if he approves of that, if any of that was his idea, he can no longer call himself Punk, although a lot of people have stripped him to that title a long time ago. But that was just utter and complete horse shit. It's one of the worst things. One of the worst things I've seen this year. I mean, it was just terrible, irredeemably bad, embarrassing. I mean, I had secondhand embarrassment for particularly for CM Punk. You know, Seth Rollins, he knows where his bread is buttered. No one takes him seriously.
Yeah, he's done enough to embarrass himself over the last several years, so that's not anything to. That's fine.
just a horrendously embarrassing. This is such utter shit, and I don't give a fuck. There is no way the Phil Brooks that I'm privy to enjoyed what went on tonight. There's not a fucking chance. Okay. You know, he wanted to go out there and have an old school knockdown, drag him out when these two guys finally got in the ring together, and they built a match around a rodeo clown guest referee and a fucking charm bracelet. What the fuck was I watching? What is this garbage? This is absolute garbage. It's just trash. There's no other way to describe what we had to sit through with this match. Okay? This is all of the fears that I've been talking about coming to life. NXT and that style of horseshit is seeping into the main roster. We saw it with Liv and Rhea, with whatever the fuck that was. We saw it in this match. Okay, this is going to be the house style soon. It's going to completely take over. It hasn't completely taken over yet. And see, they've got their fan base buying into it. Oh, what storytelling tonight. Oh, the stories tonight that this company told. They've got these people bought into this horse shit 100%. You know? So I'm not even sure that their fans hated the charm bracelet match. They probably liked it because they quote unquote told a story. This was horrendous. I don't even know if I have adjectives to describe how bad this was and how embarrassing this was for CM Punk. He should be humiliated. You know, the other two guys, who cares? They're lifers. They know the drill. They're cashing the checks. You know, but Punk, I mean, look, we all know he's a fraud to some degree. I mean, we all know that. But I know that somewhere in there, in that fraudulent heart of his, is still a guy who loves pro wrestling. And the pro wrestling that he loved growing up. And I know he didn't like doing this shit. You know? In a way, it's kind of like, all right, great, stick it to him. You know? But on the other hand, where's the CM Punk that would have said, I'm not doing this? Like, fuck off. You know the problem? He's got nowhere else to turn.
He's done. That CM Punk is dead because this is his last road, and they know it's his last road. And they know this is it. They know that he needs this job, and this is the last job in wrestling that he can ever have. So he's got to just put on his little suit, grab his little Wingstop bag, and grab his little charm bracelet and do this charm bracelet match. Because what else are you going to do? And you said that you haven't believed the theory that they're testing him. I have for a long time believed the theory that they're testing him, and they probably find it very funny that they can test him and needle him and poke him and do all this stuff. It's like, you know, the bully on the schoolyard who is facing expulsion or whatever, and now everybody can kind of poke and prod and push and make fun of him because they know if that bully lays a hand on them, he's gone, he's out, so he needs to stay on the good side of everybody, and he's just got to, you know, get punched and smile and get punched and smile. And I'm right with you. I exactly in my notes, I said, there's no way that CM Punk thinks this is a good match. There's no way. The guy that I know, the guy that I've talked, you know, I've watched this guy wrestle a long time. I know his theories on wrestling. I know, and there is no way that he was cool with a match that these guys, because we've talked about it before. They built a very good match here. They did. This feud has been good.
Hey, listen, maybe he's just a feckless loser who likes this shit now.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think I just think he realizes he's got to eat shit. And they know he's got to eat shit, and I think they find it fun how much shit they can make this guy eat. That's where I'm at.
Here's the thing. I think him and Drew are in total lockstep. because the theory is, they have Drew like trying to troll him and poke the bear to see if he can take it. I think him and Drew are in total lockstep with the build and the stuff with Jack Perry and everything. I think they are just total lockstep when it comes to that. I never bought into that. But tonight was just so beyond the pale in just, I mean, it was just so out of character for even what CM Punk has always been in kayfabe to give a shit about a charm bracelet. It's just you couldn't think of a worse idea to build a match.
So he stopped doing the go to sleep and said, "Hey, give it back!" Like he literally said, "Hey, Seth, what are you doing? Give it back!"
Yeah. This is embarrassing.
And that's like that's probably the worst part about this match. But I have about 10 other things that I think are equally horrible about this absolute dud of a match. Absolute 100% dud is my rating on this match. Dud, D-U-D, dud. I thought this match was fucking brutal. They do this great feud, all this build up, all these promos, bell pop, all this shit, and then what happens 45 seconds into this match? We're chanting for Seth's song.
Yeah.
Because the match was about Seth. Because the first spot is Punk runs into the corner and he's kicking Drew and kicking Drew and kicking Drew. And Seth counts to 5, which I love that. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm like, ring the bell. It's over. That's a DQ. Like, it's over, man. But then, then Drew runs at Punk and then he kicks him in the corner. And Seth goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which, by the way, double DQ. We're out here. And then they both kind of like stare at Seth. And Seth goes like, and we made the match within 45 seconds about Seth Rollins. And I went, that ain't it. I know that eventually this match is going to be about Seth Rollins and the guest referee, but the fact that these guys spent all of this time building this feud up, and within a minute, these 57, 54, whatever the hell, 1,000 fans or whatever are cheering for Seth and singing Seth's song. And that made me think, oh boy, this is already off to a really bad start, and it never, ever got better because the crowd did not care. The work had none of that edge to it, none of the bite that you thought. That all this social media stuff and all these promos and all this stuff just cutting deep into each other. Like you said, I thought Drew and Punk were in lockstep. They were in lockstep on social. They were in lockstep in the promos. I think everything was good. Now, it didn't all land. Obviously, we talked about Punk's promo last week not landing, but they had the right idea of this match. And then whatever got laid out was about Seth as the guest referee and charm bracelets and friendship bracelets. And none of that bite, none of that edge, none of that these guys hate each other. At no point did you think that these guys hated each other, right? At no point did you think one of these two men is going to have to walk out.
Drew, I thought, it's hard to explain because I thought Drew had intensity and looked like it was built around a fucking charm bracelet. That's the fucking problem. It's like, look, and this is how I know that deep down, Phil Brooks, the man, okay, doesn't like this shit. And because look at everything he did in AEW, where he had essentially, for the most part, creative control of his own shit. Okay. He was doing dog collar matches. Okay. He was doing old school wrestling angles and promos. When he was, quote unquote, in control of Collision, okay, they were just doing like 1992 WCW 6-man tags every week. Yeah. He was going to do a strap match with Ricky Starks before he quit / got fired at Wembley. It was never matches over charm bracelets. Okay. That's how you know that this isn't his vision. This isn't what he wants to be doing. I can't completely buy it. He might be saying the right things and playing along because he's gunning for some long-term job in the company. But at this point, I think it's just him cashing the checks and setting himself up. I don't think he genuinely enjoyed what he did tonight. There's no way. Because the last time we saw CM Punk with any kind of control over what it was he was producing on screen, it was the complete antithesis of this garbage. We know what he likes because we saw it for 2 years in AEW. And it was never this. No matter what you thought of the stuff he was doing, it was never this kind of low-level fucking garbage. overwrought storytelling over a fucking charm bracelet.
He's also, he never, even in WWE before he left, he really wasn't doing this sort of stuff either. Like this is, yeah, like you said, this is like the antithesis of what this guy had ever been in his entire career, and we're supposed to believe that in kayfabe that this guy is, after all these promos and all this bullshit, at the end of the day, he's got this guy up in a GTS with a chance to win and prove everybody wrong, and he's gonna stop to say, "Hey, Seth, give me that back. I want my charm bracelet back." It's just, it's ludicrous. It's terrible.
Utterly ridiculous, even in kayfabe.